Today, we are thrilled to introduce you to Lauren McCloughy, a true visionary and trailblazer in the world of media and leadership. With over 2 decades of experience, Lauren has seamlessly transitioned from her roots as a captivating musician and singer to her current role as the Director of Client Services, where she has redefined the art of storytelling in leadership. Lauren's unique blend of artistry and leadership has not only captivated audiences, but has also driven unparalleled growth and success in the fast-paced media industry. Join us as we delve into the remarkable achievements and insight of Lauren, the visionary maestro of storytelling in leadership. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm going to start off, you're working in a company called SiriusXM, and that's a broadcasting corporation where you have music, you have podcasts, you have sports, I think you have talks or radio, and you're pretty big, nearly 6,000 employees, but you are based in the US. So just give us a little bit flavor of what is your role in this company.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a legacy Pandora employee. So I was at Pandora starting about 2012. And over the years, we were acquired and eventually morphed into SiriusXM Media. And my role is on the client services side. So we work with our sales team and our agency and client partners to put together media plans and run and execute all of their advertising campaigns. So it's very much in the advertising, media, ad tech world. So our team is very large. We're a national team, and we work with our clients and agency partners all over the country.
Yeah. And there's another Danish company called Pandora, and that's in a totally different industry because that's in the jewelry side. And Pandora in the US, which is now part of Sirius, what did they do?
They were a music radio company, so that was it was very much radio based, where you would seed an audience with a song or an artist and get a station built off of that. And it operates the same way. It's based off the music algorithm that was built and iterated on over the years. And you can just type in an artist, a station will be created based on your preferences and your likes and your dislikes. And it's evolved over the years. You can do playlists and there's different features now, but inherently it was built as internet radio.
Yeah. And how does customers, working with you benefit of working together with SiriusXM and your teams and the sales teams? What are the benefits they see as such? How does the commercial part work here? Because I'm quite curious and interested in this because this is a moving target. It changes over time, and we're looking a lot on the social community sides, etc. I'm curious what's happening within your side.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think, when marketers look at where to spend their dollars and how to get their clients, where the right audiences are, you can buy an audience in so many places, but why do you want to buy specific audiences? And our positioning is very much audience based, and we have really deep connections to our listeners because music is very emotional. There is a lot of really deep connection to our audience based on audio, and audio is such a strong medium that people connect to. So who is engaging and who is listening to different audio through our platforms, that's the audience that you want to tap into. So, when we work with our client partners and our agency partners, and a lot of it is storytelling of how you can connect to the right audience and who you want to link up through your marketing and your media.
Okay. And then looking a little bit to your career, has that been straight ahead from the beginning? You knew where you were heading and you wanted to go into the media business, etc., or how did it start off?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all linear at all. I was originally a film major in college and very much thought that I would work in that industry. And I did for a long time. I think looking back, I probably stayed in the TV and film production industry longer than I thought maybe. I worked on a lot of I did a lot of freelance, and then moved into more corporate commercial production for television, and it was really very fun. It just was very hard to develop a career. There was a lot of competition. It was very challenging. It was leading up to the 2008-2009 recession, when spending on marketing and media and television and commercial production was really being pulled back in every direction. And I had a very nice mentorship relationship with someone who was in the digital side, and I started producing commercials for our digital properties rather than just, television based. And it was interesting. I learned a lot. It had never been something that I thought could be a career until really I saw the writing on the wall with where our departments were going. So I had moved into that department, and really at the time, I didn't know what to do with it, but I knew it could be a springboard into something else. And it was, a lower title, a pay cut. I wasn't super enthusiastic about those things, but I was super enthusiastic about what I could learn. So it took me about a year to fully grasp the digital world and what the possibilities were. And that's when I started, looking for the next thing, because it was a step back. It was a pay cut, a title change. And, in a world where you use these things as springboards to try to get the skills, I felt like that was the job, to get the skills to get the next thing that I wanted to do. So I think...
Is that an advice you would give other people? Because, there's a lot of people out there, and sometimes they're wondering, am I doing right? Should I do something different? Should I, they really have a split vision on these things. What is your feeling today when you look back? Should you grab the chances if you have, the train is at the station, you don't know really if it's heading the right direction, but it looks great, but and I'm not fully content as of today. What do you think? What is your perspective if you look back?
I think if you can train yourself to look at everything as an opportunity, it really helps. There are lots of things where you can be pessimistic or lack enthusiasm, and if you approach those same things as an opportunity where you get to learn rather than a project you have to work on, right? What do you get to learn in those situations? Who do you get to work with? Who do you get to connect with? Who do you get to have a mentorship relationship with? Who are these people that are sitting down and imparting their knowledge to you from their experience? Those are things you get to do. And we all get into those mentalities. And I think if you can really take a step back and say, okay, this is something I have to do, but what do I get out of it? How can I benefit? And what are these skills that I'm collecting? So say yes to more things, say yes to everything. Look at things that could be a challenge as a really positive opportunity, because you really just don't know where things are headed. The more you get exposure to and the more skills you collect, you start to see where you might be impactful and how you might be fulfilled. And those pieces kind of come together, and then you start thinking, sure, okay, that seems like a good idea. That seems like a good career path. So I think if there's anyone listening who might be earlier in their career, you probably have so many more skills than you even realize, because of the life skills and the experience that you've collected in anything that you're doing. It doesn't have to be your current job or a job. Life experience is very important too.
And you're into interesting things here, because many times also when you cross industries or cross different work, you actually bring something new into the others. So if you look back then to your early career in the film and the commercial productions, etc., what were tools, or what did you learn which you brought with you, which you've been able to use? I mean, some things is, of course, being on stage, that many people believe that I would never ever do it, but then with practice and training, you overcome. You still be nervous, but what did you bring with you?
Yeah. I think when I look back, what I did all the time in my commercial television production days is connect with people very quickly to earn their trust, because you're walking into businesses and companies and you know, people who are very elevated in their career, who are wanting to advertise, right? They want to advertise their product or their business or themselves. And they're spending money on this and they're nervous because they have to be in front of a camera, and you're there with your camera and lights, and it's very intimidating. They have to know their lines, and you don't have a ton of time to do these things. It's usually like a day, a couple of hours. You set up and you're ready to go, and you're, as a person bringing the camera and behind the scenes, I do it all the time. And the person who is showing up with all this equipment, like, you have to really elicit a lot of trust. Stand here, smile, do this, say that, change your line, say it like this. You really have to guide them and direct them to get a good product. So in a world where you have to do that very quickly to get that trust and be a good connection point to say, it's going to be okay. I'm going to coach you through this. It's going to be fine. You get their trust. You have to really connect with them pretty quickly and then get the job done. And as you're doing your job, try to pull that person along with you and say, it's really going to be fine. We can do this together. I do this all the time. Just trust us. And getting that person to actually trust you is how you're successful getting what you need from them in a shoot. So
And
in a
that is what you can
professional,
also bring, what you can bring with you, with your employees, and of course now
yeah,
customers, building that
yeah,
trust.
in a
I know.
professional setting, it winds up being, very valuable.
Yeah, I know. When we spoke last time, you were also very fond of utilizing storytelling, which you were talking about. When did you really grab the methodology behind storytelling? Was that in your studies, or how has that developed?
Yeah. I've always been very fascinated with like the art of storytelling. I'll say like that. And especially around documentaries. It's someone's story. It's how their story gets told. And there's a lot of art that goes into developing how that story connects emotionally with other people and what makes that compelling. And when you study, when you're in film school and you study different story development, different story arcs, different archetypes that are, the very common, the hero, the innocent, the journey story. Like, there are things that are kind of built into how we think of stories, how we develop stories, how we resonate with stories. Do you connect with that? Do you feel do you see yourself in that? Do you see someone else that you know very closely in that story? And those are things that become how you view the world. Historically, it's just these are the kinds of people that are out there. These are how these people are motivated. A lot of it's psychological, but I think when you're building a story, especially on film, there is nothing that is in that story that is not meant to be there. Every action, every word, every breath, every sip of coffee, it has some positioning and some motivation to advance a narrative and advance a storyline. And if it didn't, you wouldn't include it, because a movie is only a certain amount of time. You wouldn't include things that did not really belong and that were not really pivotal to the story that you're trying to tell. So I think those are the kinds of things that I think about a lot when I'm talking to people, making new connections, trying to understand who they are and their motivation. And this is, personal and professional life. So I think there's a lot of storytelling that you can
Have you
look
been
at from a,
used? Have you been using this in? I mean, I know you have gone through a fair amount of change management
Mhm.
over the years due to acquisitions and so on. Uh, is there any examples where you can say, well, here's an example where I actually, because I had a team and we had to get them onboarded, and, I understand the bigger picture, but in a good way. Do you have anything which you could think of?
Yeah, I think there have been so many, acquisitions and process changes and, systems changes, and you could really go on and on. One of the bigger pieces that we've been through as a company recently was introducing podcasts into our media mix. There was a company that we acquired and had to do all of our systems integrations, people integrations. And, as an individual myself, I was not leading those things. There were other people in different project roles that were involved in bringing podcast over to our company and podcast over to client services. And in the end, of course, the people that are on client services and on my team had to eventually learn the products, learn a new system, learn how to understand how this fit into our narrative, how audio was being enriched by podcasts and talk. And there are going to be new things that you have to learn, the new things that you have to do. And I think that can lead to a lot of burnout. And I think some people are energized by that change and some people are burned out by that change. And, I think that's the success of the department, is because our team is very well versed in change management, change leadership, transformational leadership, really understanding a big picture and making it personal to them.
So if we look at now, we put you, Lauren, 20 years ahead. So now we are at 2044. And you look back at your heritage. So what would you really like to leave behind you, both from as a leader and both maybe in your organization or broader? And it may also be that you still have aspirations growing there. Is that something you have been reflecting upon already now? Because I guess that's also something which is part of you.
Yeah. I think in that 20-year time frame, I will have more to reflect on, to say, like, this is really what I would love to impart. And I hope that, comes together. I think that in general, I think having fun and working hard and finding the ways to still enjoy your job and enjoy your coworkers is possible. I think there's a lot of, thoughts around, what's the saying, find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And that is not necessarily true. Work is work, and there's a lot of tough days. And I think if work is enjoyable, maybe not fun, but enjoyable, where you have a really good, deep connection with people, it can be more fulfilling than just a job. So I think when I look back, hopefully in the future, when I look back, I hope that people felt like being on our team was enjoyable, and maybe they wouldn't use the word fun. I would sometimes, but enjoyable. And I think that I think that would be a nice legacy, of being part of a team on our team was something that they look back and said, I really enjoyed that time. I really enjoyed that experience. So I think that when I think about legacy, I really just think about the people that I work with directly, the people on my team. And I hope that they view their time when they move on from the company, or when they move on from their relationship with me, that they look back and say, yeah, that was good. That I like that. I like what I did there. I like what I learned. I liked who I work with.
And I must say, nearly every meeting, when we end those, make sure you enjoy and have fun, because it also creates the creativity. It puts you on a motivational spirit. And there's always, you can find, if you're curious, and then you normally have a little bit of fun also. And it doesn't matter, if you're serving people in a restaurant, or in the media industry or the educational business. There's always, openings, as you actually started off in the beginning. Look for the opportunity as such. So you're a woman leader, and there's a lot of women coming up, and it's different in the industries. I actually don't know how it's in your broadcasting. If you tech industry, we're pretty much 50-50. If you go manufacturing, it's 80-20, still men, women. How is it in your industry? Do you know that?
I don't know the actual breakouts. I would say tech in
About.
general. Yeah, tech in general is heavily skewed towards the male
Mm.
side. But I'm very fortunate. Our client services team skews very female, and I've always had really amazing female leadership to use as an example. And that's been, in lots of facets of my life, but particularly at our company, we've had really great leadership, really amazing people to learn from. Beyond our org, I can't really say, I don't know the details.
Mm.
But in general, like tech and advertising does heavily skew male.
Yeah. So if we look at leaders to come and leaders on a journey, younger generation, it could actually be older generation, which is finally concluded. I want to be a leader now. So what advices would you give them on their journey becoming a good and great leader?
Yeah, I think it's hard. And I think when I hear other leaders speak, the things that I'm looking for as a female, as a mom, as a leader are maybe slightly different than what other people are looking for. And I've always really appreciated the honesty from other leaders who are moms, and the fact that there are a lot of days where you can't have it all. And I think our generation, my generation, I'm an older millennial. I think our society did such a good job telling females, you can do whatever you want. And a lot of us did whatever we wanted. And it was very much a part of growing up that, you can do what you want. You can set your mind to it. You can get the skills and go to college and be whatever major you want. And I think it's really helpful. And I don't think that it's fully there to say, um, you know, female leadership we've achieved everything we need to achieve, because I think there's still so much that has to change as a society so that there's a place and a real seat at the table for everyone who needs to be there. But I do think that there's been a strong movement to tell only half the population that, and we have a long way to go. And at the end of the day, you're still the mom responsible for the kids and all of that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I think you can work on outsourcing as much as possible so that your free time is freed up to do, the things that you really want to do, or that, work on your professional career. But I've always found it really helpful and relatable to hear from other people that, they don't have it all figured out either. And I think it's very important for people in leadership to say, we don't have it all figured out, and that's okay. And it can be really hard and it can be really challenging. And if you're going through that yourself, you're not alone, because it's hard in general based on, life and how our society is structured.
So one of the key messages here is that, I mean, first of all, have the belief in yourself that you can actually accomplish independent if you are a guy. In this case, we are talking a woman. If you're colored or black or whatever, the opportunity is there. But first of all, you have to believe in yourself that it's possible and to move it. The
Yeah.
other thing, which I see working all over the world, is have the dialogue within the family. Be open about it. Be open about your own career and what you want to achieve, and where can we share things and all that. And really, when we look at the world in the bigger picture, there are countries where women are fighting really, really hard to be seen and being able to go in their direction in terms of education, and then of course in work and so on. So I think it's a very, very important message in growing, because we need women leadership all over the world, that's for sure. Lauren,
Yeah.
love talking to you. And I would like just to thank you so much for being part of the Growth Leaders today. And thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. This was fun.
Thanks. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.